Hey there and welcome to my craft room. My name's Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in southern Tasmania. Just a little quick video today, or hopefully quick if I can get my fingers to work properly. I'm going to be constructing or creating the last few flowers of the Paper Bouquet Kit. It's a brand new kit from Stampin' Up! A little bit unusual, a little bit different to our usual kits. You're actually making some beautiful tissue paper flowers, and there's all the flowers there in their glory. There's whites and pinks and oranges and blues and some leaves there as well. So you're making flowers. Now, confession time, I have never made a tissue paper flower at least in my memory, in my adult life. Maybe I made them as a kid, I'm not quite sure. So this is brand new for me. And I suppose what I want to show you in this video is that even if you've never done flower making before and you're a complete novice like me, you can create something beautiful. And one of my ladies said to me, I'm going to make the flowers fine, but what am I going to do with them? I just don't want them in a vase, just gathering dust. So I had a bit of a think about what you could use tissue paper flowers for. Not that I ever have. And I've come up with what I think is a lovely idea, and I'm not going to show you till I finished constructing these last few flowers, and then I'll show you what I've made and see if you would like to have it in your home as well. So we're into the home decor sort of area here. You probably couldn't use these too easily on a card unless you made a little box for it, because they do stand up quite high. Scrapbook page maybe for a shadow box, that sort of thing would work. But hopefully you'll like the idea that I came up with. And I've added a few things, changed a few things from the instructions to make it fit my idea. Okay, so what you get when you purchase this kit is all the pieces to make 23 flowers, and I think they were saying 11 leaves. So you get the coloured tissue paper, you get the little stems, stalks, you get some little centre beads there. I think they had an actual proper flower making name. I can't remember now, I read it somewhere. And you get things to make the stamens, you get things to make the little leaves that go up and under the flowers. And as I say, you get some tissue paper leaves or crepe paper leaves, and you get some cardstock leaves as well. Now, I haven't with my design used the cardstock leaves, but the principle is the same. And I've made a couple of changes to the way we use the crepe paper as well. You get some really, really long stems there, and that's for if you wanted to put it into a vase. I haven't actually, for my idea, haven't had to use the full length of these, so I've chopped a lot of them in half, which means I get to do a couple of extra things, which I'll explain to you in a moment. But what we'll do now is we'll make these last 3 flowers, and then I'll pop them into the design, the little home decor thing that I've made, and we'll see what you think of it. So I'm just making one each of what they call in the instructions 5, 6 and 7. That's what I've got left, but the instructions give you one instruction for a flower and one instruction for a leaf. So if you follow the instructions for one flower, you just basically repeat it regardless of the colour or the size of the flower you're making. Okay, so what's on top? Well, actually on top is these. This is flower number 6, and it's just some little daisies. Now, probably shouldn't have started with this one, because when I say you follow the instructions for one, you follow it for all. We've got 3 parts to our little daisy, and you'll notice that 2 of the little flowers are smaller than the third one. So that's a bit of a clue how we're going to put it on. What actually you do, grab sort of a ruler or a pencil or something sort of small and cylindrical, and you actually curl the flowers. So if you're a flower maker from old, this would be old hat to you. So please, as I say, this is my first flower making of my adult life at least. So please don't judge. Wait till you see my hot glue work. Hot glue and me do not mix readily. We're mortal enemies, and I think I've already burnt the fingerprints off my fingers a couple of times already just with this one project. So basically you're just curling these leaves up. Now because this is a daisy we're making, I'm not going to actually bother curling the rest of these up because I like my daisies to be sort of flat-leaved, or that's what I think they should be. So once you've curled the leaves, you pop those aside. So what you need again is some of the wire. As I say, for my project I only need a half piece. If you're putting them as a bouquet into a vase, you could use the whole length, but I've chopped that down to a half length. Okay, so, and what you need to do is grab your wire and grab one of these little beads, and they had a proper flower making name as well. So it actually tells you what colour bead to make with the particular flower. So for these little daisies we use a yellow bead. You string that onto your wire, turn it over, and you need to wrap that wire, kink that wire around to trap that little bead. Now I may not have flower decorated, but many years ago I did some beading. I think we all lots of us went through various hobbies before we landed on card making, and we'll probably have lots of hobbies in the future as well. But these little pliers were left over from a beading phase that I went through, and I just found that they were really handy for this work as well. So if you've got them, they're really, really handy just for holding that firm while you twist it around. And then it's got a little bit that you can flatten it as well. So that's what you end up with a little bead on a piece of wire all wrapped around there. So that's how we go. So that's what we do. So that little piece, we need to grab one of the little crepe papers here. It's just like a little yellow wave, and again the instructions are telling you which part to use for what flower. You need to get your glue gun. Now I tried to do this without a glue gun because my glue gun work is, as I say, questionable. I tried to do this with just our normal latex glue, and you really, I couldn't do it anyway. So because I was just basically trying to avoid the glue, the hot glue at all costs, but don't think that it didn't work very well. So just glue on one end, wrap the little stamens around. They actually seem to go quite well, and they spread a little bit easier if you actually sort of pull them slightly, just sort of rather than just sort of give them a little bit of a tug, because it's tissue paper. It's sort of not tissue paper, crepe paper. It sort of stretches quite nicely. Just a little bit of glue there. As I say, my glue work is not great, and you just leave that to dry for a couple of seconds, and that's the inside of your little flower. Doesn't look too good now, but it'll look good when I put the flowers on, I promise. Just leave that there to dry. I'll pop that over in somewhere over there. Okay, so now we have our petals, but we also need a little backing, a little sort of leaves to go up and under our petals. So as I say, curl them up with a pencil, and then what I'm going to do is give them another curl with my piercing mat. And another tool that I think I bought once because I thought I would like to try paper flowers, but I never actually used it, so I've found it at the bottom of the crafting box and bought it out. It was probably with the beading tools, I reckon. So basically it's just got a ball on the end. I've got my piercing mat here. You basically just put that in down there. It makes it all sort of bunch up. If you want to, you can actually force it around the edges of it, and it gives your flowers a little bit of a natural curl. There we are. So there's 3 flowers, so you're going to start with the smallest ones on the inside and then the larger one on the outside, and as they go from the inside to the outside, they should curl in less. So that one curls in a lot. This next one's the next side, that curls in not so much, and then this one will only curl just a wee bit. Okay, so then we can pop them on our stem. So that's nice and dry now. Yep, ish. So I'm going to pop some more glue. I might pop that on first. So just feed that through the little hole in the bottom, feed it through, take it right down to the end there. I'm not really staying in camera shot here, am I? Very well. Anyway, feed it right down to the end there. Bring in your glue. Now, it's a funny place to be doing my glue, I know, but my glue gun has a very short cord in it. So, come on out. Has it come unplugged? I think it's come unplugged. Very, very short, and it's come unplugged. So that's why it's not melting. Okay, I'll just wait that heat up again. I obviously pulled it too far and it's decided to come unplugged. I'll just a little bit of glue on there just to hold that one in place. Sorry, I know you can't see it, but that's as far as I can come with my glue. The cord of it. Come on. And we'll bring in the next one that's not quite as curled. Now, a suggestion here is to sort of feed them on so that they sort of don't line up with each other, so that the petals sort of interweave with each other, so it looks a little bit more natural, not so uniform and false. Now, if you decided to work again, here you come, coming now in a big glug. So just a bit of glue on that one to hold it in place. Now that's decided to come in a big spurt. It's still there, and then we feed in the last one, and again rotate it a bit so that it looks like it's, not that you can see, so that it looks like it's into sort of random. That one goes in there as well. So that's that little flower there. Then we've got the little green little leaves here, and again I'm going to bring in my, oh there's that one there, bring that in and give it a bit of a curl, and hopefully my glue gun will behave itself. I'm going to pop some more glue on the back here. Feed that down as well. Yep, there we are. See that there? It's got its little leaves there and it rounds it off nicely. And that is a little daisy, a little pink daisy. So we'll keep going and I'll make the other two, the last two of the other design. So we also have to do the little blue one. We've got 3 little blue petals here. This one I am going to curl. So grab the pencil, give them a little curl. And this one has a little blue internal bead as well. I think I've got one already made. I'll have to do that again. One, two. 3. I love this blue. I think this blue is our brand new blue. I think this is our cloud cover. It's just so soft. So we've got our 3. This one also needs a little backing piece. and it needs a blue, a little blue stamen, I suppose it is, and a little blue bead on the wire, which I've already done to save you the worry of watching me. Okay, so we'll, again, assuming that my glue gun hasn't turned itself off, a little bit of glue on there, the blue crepe paper, wrap it round. Then give it a little bit of a tight wrap, stretch it a wee bit, grab the glue again and put that on there. Just let that dry. Got it on my fingers there. Just let that dry over there. Now we'll scrunch up our flowers. So again, we want the middle one to be really scrunched, so really tight. Now they do loosen. I did notice that they did loosen over time. So I might have scrunched it a lot here, but by the time I get them on the thing that we've made, I won't tell you what it is yet. So this one's a little bit less scrunched. So I'm using my big ball there, and this one's just a little bit scrunched. Gentle, not to break anything, and then I'll scrunch the little leaves as well. So they're all scrunched. Bring back our little stem, which should be solid now. Yes, it is. So the first one is the really scrunched one. Now I'm coming to the end of a glue stick as well, which doesn't help. Now nearly as much. So just rotate them again so that they don't line up exactly. They look a bit natural. There we are. And then a bit more glue. Hopefully I'll get enough from this glue stick to get all three done. And then we'll bring down the last one. There we are. Isn't that cute? It's like a little blue poppy. There we are. Last one is our little leaves. There we are. That's our little blue one. And the last one I'm going to do with you is this lovely big orange one. So this was supposed to be 3 pieces. And I think they've given us an extra piece. It was 3, 3 and 3, but then I have used, I'm sure there's 3 on that one and 3 on that one. So they've given me an extra one here. I don't know how that worked out, but anyway, hopefully it's okay. So again, we've got the 3 lovely big petals. You can roll them. I actually decided to roll it this way so that they had like long ways rolls, not lengthways, if that makes sense, but just a little bit. And look, to be honest, once I get them on my project, you're not going to really notice that they've been rolled at all. There we are. And this one's supposed to have a blue, but I've got a yellow one. Is it going to make any difference? I don't think so. I'm going to use the yellow one that I've got left I already did one on a stick, so I might do that. I've got spares of each, but because I've already got this yellow one on a stick, I might just go with that. It's got a blue wrappy bit, so we'll do that. Let's pray for our glue. Come on, glue. I might grab another glue stick and just push that through with it. Oh, here it comes. There we go. Well and truly there now. Pop that on there. Start wrapping. So as I say, this is supposed to have a blue bead, but you don't see it really, so I'm going to go with the yellow one I had prepared earlier. Give it a little bit of a stretch, sort of rotate it, sort of go up and down a little bit, just to give it a little bit of sort of natural look. Not too much. Don't want it to go too far down because then your flowers won't go on. And again, some glue around there. Oh dear, that's okay. Hopefully that's okay, it'll stay on there. Yeah, I'll pop that aside to dry. Let's get the rest of these done. Now I'm not curling. You can curl them if you want to. Curl them that way, or curl them that way, or curl them sort of sideways. That's sort of cute. But as I say, by the time I get them on this project, you're not going to really notice if they're curled or not. Okay, so let's get these onto our stick. So first one, I'm using the end of my pencil here because it's nice and fine. First one I'm going to scrunch quite a bit. Second one, not quite as much, but still a fair bit. And then the last one, hardly at all, a bit less. And the little leaves as well. Okay, let's bring that back. That's nice and solid now. Got little patter of little feet in the craft room at the moment. Hello, Max. We'll pop that on there. Max is my youngest stock who's staying with us for the weekend, plus a bit more. So a bit of glue there. There you go. That worked really well, that bit of glue. Where were my glue skills before? We'll pop this one on. Rotate it a wee bit so that they're not lined up, so it looks a bit more natural. Okay. Sorry, I keep going on off the camera there to look at them because I'm a little bit further back than I'm usually sit. Oh, let's sit a bit closer. Now the last one, a bit more glue. Bring this last one down. Offset the leaves. That's the word I was looking for. Offset. Offset the petals. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, now our last little axial leaf. I don't know what it would be. These little leaves down here. And that one's done as well. Okay, so there's our 3 flowers that we've made, the 3 last from the set, from the bundle. So all 23 flowers basically the same. Fold the leaves if you want, put the little central ones on the bead, and then sort of glue them all on, and that's what the flowers all look like when you're finished. One more thing to do, and I'll show you how I quickly changed the leaf. Now this is the leaf that they've given, or one of the leaves, the crepe leaf that they've given you. Too big for what I needed to do. I needed just smaller leaves and probably more of them. So all I've done is fold this in half, like so, and then grab my scissors and just trimmed it so that it's a half size leaf. Like so. I made that a bit straight. Anyway, so 2 leaves instead of 1. Grab the glue gun again and grab some wire. Now again, I only want half size, and half size is about 18 centimetres, so just chop it in half there. Grab the glue gun, move over so that my glue gun doesn't detach itself again, and just run some glue just down the centre of that leaf. Bring in a little bit of wire, and that's what you want there. Okay, so that's one. So whereas if I'd left it big, you'll just left it as a whole piece, run glue down the middle and just have a bigger piece of wire and a bigger leaf. Do the same with the other one. Lay the wire in the middle. There we are. So that's the second one. So we've got 2 leaves. You can see there. I'm going to pop them on the display like that, so they're smaller. Okay, so here I've got 2 leaves left. The rest of them are already on there. 3 flowers to pop in. And because I had all this wire left over because I've been using half wires, I've actually popped some little silver bows together as well. So I can pop my glue gun over there so it doesn't get into trouble anymore because we're done. So I've got 3 little bows on wire as well. So this is just some silver and white Stampin' Up ribbon that's retired, but I think they're very cute. Just tied the bow around the little looped, as we did with the flowers, looped and sort of curled in there. So I've got those as well. So, and I'll bring in what I've decided to make with it, and hopefully you like it. So I went to my local craft store and I got, I think, what they call a moss wreath. I might go up a little bit here so you can actually see a little bit more of what we're doing. A little moss, what they call a moss wreath. Here we are, a little moss wreath. And tell you what, most of the moss has probably fallen off in the time I've been using it. It's just really, I tried to spray it with some hairspray and it sort of made it better, but it still drops like mad. So get the vacuum cleaner out if you decide to use one. And I've got all my little flowers, and I've basically, with the wires, stuck it into the moss wreath, and I've made what I think is pretty special little floral wreath there. And you can see these are the smaller leaves that we've got there. They're all just stuck in there as well and sticking out on the edges there. So we've got our last few to add and our bows. So there's a blue one and a blue one, so there has to be a blue one down here. You guys know me, everything has to be sort of symmetrical. So I'm just basically getting the wire, and I said it's smaller than it was, just popping it in through the wreath down. Make sure you bring all the once you start getting the flowers really close together, make sure you get their petals so they stick up rather than scrunching each other, and then just fold that up and behind and pop it in through into the wreath behind. So we're just in there, just tuck the edge of the wire in. And there's my little blue one. I did have it worked out where the others needed to go, so the orange one needs to come down here. So just wire in through the wreath. It sometimes needs a bit of a wiggle. Bring it in, make sure that the leaves don't scrunch each other. It fits in like so. There we are. Then just curl that around behind, curl it in and then push it in and under so you don't see it in the back of the wreath. There might be an easier way to do this, and I'm sure, as I say, I'm not a flower maker. I've never made these before, but I'm really pleased with this. And there's a little spot there that's just for our little final pink one. Bring that in. There we go. Curl it round and pop it in at the back. And as I say, the moss, whatever this moss is, it falls off at a rate of knots. Okay, there we are. So we've got our two little more leaves to do. I've got leaves there, I've got leaves there, I've got leaves there, so it has to be leaves here. So I'm just going to stick those in to the wreath at the back here behind the flowers. There we are, there's that one. And its little partner here. Okay, we've got our little leaves. You can manipulate those to stick out or as much as you want or as little as you want. Okay, then we've got our ribbons. Just wherever I thought there was a bit of a gap. Then make sure they don't scrunch any of our pretty petals. Little glue on there, make sure it's not scrunched. There we are. So that's that little bit of sparkly ribbon there. And again, just pop that end of that inside so it doesn't spike me and it doesn't come out. And two more bits of ribbon. Now, what I haven't worked out how to do, and given that I'm teaching myself this as I go, I haven't taught myself how to hang this up. So if any of you are wreath makers, I've always got lots of ribbon, always lots of ribbon in the craft room, more ribbon than you know what to do with. So if I can use somehow, if you tell me how to attach the ribbon, I've got lots of the wire left, so I could attach it with wire, I suppose. That would work. So just popping that little bit of sparkly ribbon in there. Again, wrap it round and pop it in the back. Doesn't want to go. As I say, it's a little bit of jiggling sometimes. There we are. Okay. And the last one, got to be up here somewhere. Done. What do you think? I think that's just so pretty. And that's our moss ring at the back there. And our beautiful floral. Now I think, you know, I'm going to pop that up on the wall in my craft room, anywhere really, once I work out how to attach the ribbon to put it on the wall. But yeah, I think that's just so pretty, and it's just going to sit up on the wall. It's not going to get in the way sitting in a vase. It's going to just sit on the wall, and I'm going to be able to admire it and tell myself how clever I am. That was my first experience of tissue paper plant flower making. Okay, so there we are. I might go up a little bit more so you can see the whole thing. That will probably get a little bit fuzzy, but there you are. So that is my wreath. I've added the ribbon. I've changed the lengths of all the wires so that they're not overly long, and I purchased my little moss wreath from my local craft shop. If you're in Australia, it's a craft shop that rhymes with fortnight, something you could be able to find it in your local town. But yeah, so there we are. That was the 20 centimetre one. I know I could have got a bigger one, and I know I could have got a smaller one, but I think I'm pretty pleased that I got the 20, 25. I'll measure it completely. I don't know if it's got the little thing here anymore. I got the 23, 24 centimetre one, and that seems to have filled it in really nicely with these little flowers. So there you are. Hopefully you like that. Give it a go. See if you can do something a little bit different with your paper flowers, so they just don't sit in the way and you end up cursing them for being in the way of your crafting or whatever. Put that on the wall and you'll be able to look at it proudly every day. Okay, so thanks for joining me for this one. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. The kit is available at the moment, but as with all our kits, they are while stocks last, so that you can't be sure that they will restock it if it goes unavailable. So there we are, the Flower Bouquet Kit. Okay, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you all again next time.